Started to clap. Tell me when you're ready. Good, thank you very much. Appreciate the clap. So the next segment. It's perfect timing, actually. So now we kind of talked about what racism is, where I think it's coming from a perspective of evolutionary biology, not from a perspective of culture, but from this biology view perspective. Here's an example of a really very bad and scientifically covered kind of manifestation of racism. And it is very dangerous because when a scientist who we trust, who we look up to, makes comments that are racist, it's particularly dangerous because a lot of people will listen. So I don't know if you guys remember. Do you guys who this person is? Just don't look at this. So James Watson. Who is James Watson?
Wasn't he along with Francis Crick?
Yes.
One of the Baptist,
Yes. So Watson. A lot of people think that Watson and Crick is Watson Crick. So Watson is the first name and Crick is the last name, but actually it's James Watson and Francis Crick. The two scientists, Watson is American, Crick is British. They were the first to create a reasonably correct working model, structural model of DNA. So they didn't discover the structure, they were the ones who interpreted the discoveries correctly, and they became really famous. They got a Nobel Prize, and this DNA structure that they designed basically allowed scientists to explain previously unexplainable properties of DNA. How this very simple molecule, repetitive nucleotide sequences, can actually encode information about proteins, and how this information can actually replicate itself. The structure elegantly explained all this, and after that, basically, these guys became really famous.
Yeah, I think on the basis we're talking someone named Rosa Franklin.
That's right. Rosa Franklin was.
And there's a big controversy that they stole her work and
So yes, Franklin used X-ray crystallography, basically generated the data upon which Francis and Crick and Watson based their structure. So they didn't really steal. They used the data that were published and went ahead and got the Nobel Prize. And unfortunately, poor Franklin died of radiation-induced cancer because she used a lot of X-ray. So it's a very sad story. Bottom line, James Watson became a Nobel Prize-winning center figure of genetics. He led a large laboratory called Cold Spring Harbor Laboratories, a very big, basically a whole research institute studying all kinds of aspects of genetics. About 11 years ago, he made a comment, which I paraphrase, something like this. We know that IQ is highly heritable, intelligence quotient. We know that African Americans score badly on IQ tests. Therefore, we should not, because genes determine their lack of intelligence, we should not invest in social programs and should not help these guys. It's a waste of money and time. And we shouldn't help African nations because they are genetically doomed. That was basically what he was explaining. And so just for the sake of recording, this is not what I think is correct. This is actually not only politically incorrect and very insensitive, but scientifically completely wrong. Here is a geneticist who doesn't understand genetics. So this is what we are going to talk about in the second segment of this discussion. and I see some movement. Can I go ahead?
If you can wait 1 minute.
Okay, I'll wait for 1 minute. Open it. Good.
Position happened in 1971, there was another guy, Hopkins, called Ernest King, and he claimed the same thing, right?
Right.
Yeah, and they protest against him, block him out of the university, blah, 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 you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's a very interesting topic because in the name of scientific free speech, but a few professors with racist ideas claim that, I'm allowed to explain myself the way I feel fit because, this is what my data shows. And there was another big event, and then I will get back to the original plan, so I can re-record it. There was another a scientist, you guys probably don't know him because he's not so famous, but for us, he was one of the leaders of behavioral genetics. The president of the Behavioral Genetics Association, BGA, Greg Whitney, he made basically the same claim that certain races, African Americans, have high criminality, aberrant sexual behavior, high aggression, and low IQ, and it's all genetics. So, okay, so let's just disentangle the science behind these claims. Let's see what is correct, what is incorrect about this.